Coming up on the opening of the main card this week, we have Nick Nagamura versus Ike Villanueva. Uh, Nick is coming in 10-1 in the light heavyweight division. That's 205, of course, coming at 6 foot with a 78-inch reach, while his pudgy counterpart, Ike Villanueva, is coming in at 6'1 with a 73-inch reach. So Nick is going to have quite the reach advantage. This is a pretty interesting matchup from my perspective for a number of reasons, especially how conflated Nick's record is at 10-1. I don't think he's nearly as good as his record indicates. Zach, what do you think?
No, I agree, man. I agree. I don't think 10-1 is a fair indicator of where we're just going to call him Nick, where Nick stands. But, Ike Villanueva has been around. He's been doing this for a long time. The dude's a veteran of the game. So I think you look at these guys and how they fight, and this one just seems to promise to be a slugfest. It seems that, seems that these guys are going to meet in the middle and they're going to want to throw down. I don't think either one of these guys really has business being on the main card. So I think being there, it's an opportunity where if you go out and you perform, this is somewhere that you could be on a more permanent basis. However, this is one of those fights that with the bigger guys in the heavier weight class, it could get sloppy if it goes on for 3 rounds. If we have to watch 15 minutes of this, we might get bored. We might get a little bit upset with the fact that these guys are professional mixed martial artists. They're highly trained weapons, but long story short, I think it's going to come down to who's quicker. I think it's going to come down to who's beating who to the punch. And I think just being younger, just being fresher, just being a guy who's still trying to climb the ladder, I see Nick getting a knockout here, man. I see him being the guy that's first to the punch for at least a good round. And then, into that first half of round 2, some of those punches that weren't stinging so bad in the first round are going to start to connect a little bit more.
Yeah, for Nick, I think what we saw in this last fight was fun to watch. I think it went all 3 rounds, if I'm not mistaken. Or
yeah,
it went longer than expected, especially with them just chunking leather and throwing absolute haymakers at each other versus a fellow that trains with Stipe. I forget his name, but what scared me was how hard he got hit and just ate it. This guy has a blockhead and gets hit a lot. His boxing defense is not very good. He doesn't move out of the way. He gets hit a lot and just keeps on coming forward like a fucking zombie, which is scary, especially with somebody like Ike Villanueva on the other side, because Ike, let me sum up his game. He gets knocked out or he knocks somebody out. There's really not an in between. He likes to throw. His boxing is actually not bad, but he's susceptible to going down. And I don't think this is going to hit the ground for either of them. I think maybe if Nick gets in trouble, he pushes him up against the fence. But for the most part, I see a slugfest. I could see it going either way. One of these guys is getting knocked out, in my opinion. I would be confident picking Nick Negumereanu, but I think his defense really scares me with Ike's power. I don't know what else to say. This is definitely not going to the ground, in my opinion. Both guys lay there like dead fish.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think the only time we see a mat exchange here is, kind of like you said, if somebody gets rocked and it's just a desperation takedown, I could see it, especially if it's just a desperation shot that they don't have any intentions of landing a takedown with. But like you said, even though Nick's boxing defense isn't that great, the dude has a granite chin. He's a blockhead. I like that. That was pretty fucking good. And I don't think Ike is going to have the ability to connect with all of these combinations. I don't think we're going to see a lot of punches and bunches from him. So I think you're right. I think if he can get a good counter punch right on the chin, it's very possible we could see Nick go to sleep. But I see it going the other way. I think he's going to get the finish, and I think we're still going to be frustrated on the other side of it that he's 11-1 and he's, not that special.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I mean, he has a lot of work to do coming in at 11-1.
But
But
look, only
I
27.
yeah, I mean, he's young, but I just don't think Ike's that good. Like, yeah, he has knockout power and pretty good boxing offense, but he's really one dimensional and is chinny, which is two things that I'm not a fan of. And old. He's like
Yeah, I was
37.
about to say getting chinny and having 30 professional fights is not a combination that tends to play well for people.
Yeah. AKA Chuck Liddell.
Yeah.
But let's get on like Donkey Kong.